Very much. There we go. That would work wicked. And I got to do a cartoon for James too. I'm going to turn his name into a cartoon in a couple of minutes.
Surface? Is this okay?
Absolutely. My desk is your desk, as they say in Spanish.
And it's an honor to be on your show because I watch you all the time.
You're wicked.
And this is like this is a treat.
Oh yeah, man. You are one of my favorite audience members. It's great to have you on.
That's because I understand your jokes because I'm 53.
Exactly. On behalf of all the Gen Xers to the generation behind us, fuck off, you live in the future! Quit your whining! Don't you feel like that sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah, they got it way easier than we do. Everything's way faster. We had no internet. We had those cards you had to fill out and feed into a computer.
That's true. And we had to talk to people.
Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. Do you remember at one time, remember when we were kids, they would have only one phone in the entire house, and it was on the wall in the kitchen.
Yeah, remember when you had to do this?
Okay, you're maybe a little older than I am. We didn't have the crank phone. We had to do this for the butter.
That's different.
Yeah, but that was to the people in the neighborhood, so we'd have money to buy it. Oh man, that was horrible. But I had to say something. Hey, let's talk about your show.
Okay, Larry.
Oh, first of all, where are you from originally, James?
I'm originally from Mississauga.
Wicked. You know what Mississauga is? It's the Indian word for golf courses and malls.
True.
And you have the world's oldest living dead person as mayor. What's her name? Leslie McCallion, is that it?
Hazel.
Hazel McCallion. Yeah, they named a tornado or storm after her. Hurricane Hazel. That's right. She brought it in. She's a witch. So she brought that storm, and that's how she's lived and been the mayor of that town for 285 years.
Yes, she is actually that age. She's quite old.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I got an idea for you guys one day. You should promote a death match between her and Rob Ford. And Bob Pertina, our mayor to radio, he could do play-by-play.
Maybe mud wrestling would be fun.
Yeah,
Or
but we
Joe.
want people to come.
They certainly wouldn't come with Rob Ford and Hazel.
No. I usually think of Rob Ford when I'm trying not to. Shut up. Some guys use baseball stats. Some guys think about kissing their grandmas. I go, Rob Ford, it's gone.
Funny, I feel the same way about Hazel.
Right, well, there you go. We learned so much about each other thanks to this show. Now, I want to ask you, Mr. James Biss. This is why I wanted you on when I came over and asked you, because I've had the magician James from the show on the show. But when I see a director, I'm having a couple of other directors on the show, and I understand the concept, the idea of I have a play, I need some actors. Can you read the script and figure out how we direct this and what you want to have happen in the show? Now, I'm a comic performer and I do stand-up, which is a lone performance, kind of like what a magician does, right? It's a stand-alone thing. What does a director bring, and I'm very interested in this, to someone who kind of is used to doing a show anyhow? Do you know what I mean? And they're coming to the Fringe. How is that different?
The challenge with presenting magic, and I'm a magician as well, so I have a background.
That would help.
Yeah. Is that many magic shows are simply a series of tricks. You do a trick and then you do another trick. Have you ever been to a kid's birthday party? You may have experienced that sort of
Yes.
thing where the magician's doing
That's
simply
why I do a
series of
kid's show
things.
without magic, because I used to get mad when I was a kid. They'd always do that box trick.
The
Oh,
box
look,
trick.
it's empty. It's empty. It's empty. It used to make me mad.
Yeah, the box trick. So anyway, the thing is, it'd be like a trick, and there'd be a trick and a trick. And so what's the point, I guess, of directing something is try and create a tight show. I mean, that's the challenge. In
Sort of
60
give it a
minutes.
beginning, a middle, and
Yeah,
an end.
exactly.
For cohesion.
Exactly.
Wicked.
And also to make it look pretty on stage, because there's always the issues of,
Right.
of staging. And when you come and see the show, and we invite everyone to come and see me about a matinee tomorrow at 1,
Right.
And another a final show in the evening on Sunday. And you'll see that visually, the show is very elegant on stage.
Right, because you want it to be a show.
Yeah.
You know, you come out to
Exactly.
the theater, you want it to be a show.
Because we're the odd show. I mean, we have all these fantastic actors and directors and writers performing in the Fringe Festival, and here's magic. And you think, well, how do we live up to the artistic standards
Right.
of all these wonderful talents?
Right.
So we have to put as much thought into, what happens in the show, what's the message of the show, the theme.
And as you were talking, it dawned on me as well, why, if, like, say I was gonna do a one-man show, and I'm used to performing by myself, and if I was gonna come to the Fringe, and I'm like, why would you need a director? And as you were speaking, it came to me, I'm like this, it's kinda hard for you to judge your swim stroke, cause you're in the pool doing the swimming. Right, so as a director, I guess you get to say to the guy in the pool, that's a little awkward, or that's working well, or would you like to try that?
Or to hear a reaction in the audience. Tonight, people reacted differently than they did the other night, and there are certain things that happen that we think, oh, we should do that all the time. And the way you said that was terrific. Let's do that again. So it becomes part of the script, because the whole show is scripted, but there has to be some level of spontaneity. So it starts with a script, and so there you go.
Right on, I'm gonna ask you a couple more
Oh, I thought it was
questions.
another trick.
And no, I'm gonna turn your name into a cartoon, but it won't look like James from the magic shows, because that would be wrong. I made the girls from the sketch shows last night exactly alike so that they wouldn't try to. And it's going smooth as usual. Bad leg.
So that's what we try to do. We try to give it a sense of how the show flows. So when you watch the show, it's more this series of tricks. It's a performance worthy of the festival. And that was kind of our sort of our goal. We set out to do this, and we practiced it repeatedly in my dining room. And so it turns out the stage that we have at the Park Theater, which is a couple blocks over and down from here, is kind of the size of my dining room, conveniently enough. So it all worked out very well. The blocking worked brilliantly. And after we're finished here, we go to Toronto to the Summer Works Festival that I have some experience with, but the stage is entirely different. So here we have a space which is very similar to my dining room. Which it worked out
It's
well.
small, eh?
It's very small.
That must, how does that, yeah, this is what I wanted to ask. Have you done some other fringes with this show?
I've done Summer Works and Fringe in Toronto, but never Hamilton.
Right, and have you taken this show to any other fringes?
No, this
That's-
is a world premiere.
Right on, world premiere, applause for that. What I wanted to ask you too, though, about that was, did you know what the space looked like before you loaded in, or did you just load in and go, we have to make our show work in here?
In fact, the pictures were incredibly deceiving. The pictures were of this lovely space, but it looked kind of sort of nebulous in size. When we got there, it turned out to be much smaller and more intimate, more sort of Victorian parlor-like. I mean, there are chandeliers that, as director, my real job is to control the dimmer. So when you watch the show, I'm the one that's dimming the lights. That's
good,
what
too.
they're really doing. That's what I'm actually doing. So dimming the lights in the back, but the whole room has this kind of intimate Victorian feel to it, and so it adds to the atmosphere of the show. So James is dressed kind of formally in a three-piece suit, which is very anti-Chris Angel. That sounds kind of like anti-Chris. That sounds kind of. So,
That's okay, we agree, don't we, Donna? Fuck that filthy little beast.
So James comes out in a three-piece suit, and it kind of suits the atmosphere of the space. Just using the word space makes me feel like I'm different.
Wow, that's cool, because in their space is a science fiction show in a post-apocalyptic future. So see, synchronicity, space, magic, freakiness. That's what that theater's all about over there.
And hockey.
James, here you go, dude. That's a picture of you directing the other James. He's trying out a magic trick and going, huh? And what do you think, Connor, right? And you're like, I don't know. Make it more square. There you go. I don't know. When and where is your show?
Tomorrow we have a matinee at 1 o'clock, and on
7.
Sunday we have a show in the evening at
7.
I believe 7. I believe, yes?
7?
Fabulous.
Right on. Here's your
Thank you
picture.
very much.
Thank you for being on the show. And just to remind you all and let you know, because James has been on the